If you want to make some fantasy picks on your favorite sports, check out Underdog Fantasy. It's all the rage, where you can choose higher or lower between 2 to 8 players, and you can win up to 325 times your entry. Use the code K100 at the Underdog Fantasy website, on the app, or at our personalized link, and you can receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash as well as a free pick. Underdog Fantasy offers a unique approach to fantasy sports, and it's a simple pick 'em style format. You can select players you believe will outperform expectations without the complexities of traditional daily fantasy sports. The user-friendly interface and growing community make it easy and fun to play, plus it's available in over 30 U.S. states. We will share our picks for you every week on K100 Sports. You can follow along or play against us. So use the code K100 at UnderdogFantasy.com on the app or at the link included in the show notes and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick. UnderdogFantasy.com. It's an underdog thing. Joe, pull up the collision quarters, because it's another show that they said was another great run of shows that they've been doing. And, actually, okay, it's an Olympic ski slope as usual. Not as steep as the Dynamite ski slopes, but we actually had a segment at the end that finally went up at the end.
I have a theory.
And well, let me explain to people that are just listening to this. The Bandito and Powerhouse versus the Learning Tree match gained viewers at the end. That's weird.
Okay, so here we go. Here's my new theory. So they started off at 229, right?
No.
Yeah, they Bandito and Powerhouse Hobbs started 229.
Oh, right, yeah, right. Yeah, the main event.
Okay, then it went up to 266, right?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Bro, that's from 10 to 10:02. I bet you a lot of people, whatever the next show was, which is Modern Family, they were turning it on around that time at 10, and they're like, wrestling going long. 2 minutes later, Modern Family's on. So I just think that the ending is superficial. I don't want to take anything away from them, but they did start at 229.
Right, and the show is and bro, every week, all of AEW shows do this. The quarter hour, the next quarter hour is lower than the quarter hour before it, like consistently. Until
even worse. At the 9 o'clock spot, it goes down, doesn't go up.
Right. Let me tell you something. This is interesting too. I wonder if somebody could do this. Right. In the past 3 months, like 12 weeks worth of shows. Okay. How many quarter hour segments so you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll have 9 quarter hours that are listed for each 2-hour show. Right. How many segments of the quarter hours go up over compared to how many have gone down over a 12-week period? Like, bro, the math on that has got to be absolutely just unbelievably bad.
Remember, it stood out so much because that one Harley Cameron quarter went up.
Right, that went up. It was like, bro, you can count. I think in 12 weeks you can count on 10 fingers the amount of segments that have gone up.
Yeah,
I would bet. I'm not gonna bet money on that, but it wouldn't be a bad bet. Like, what would you bet if I said the over-under was 10? Joe, what would you bet?
Oh, under,
right. Konnan, you're muted, by the way. Did you guys watch Dynamite?
Joe, can you just check something out with Grok?
Yeah.
Ask him who are the top 5 TV ratings draws for AEW.
All right. See if we can actually give that information. It might. And go do the deep dive on that. You can do deep search, Joe, on Grok.
I see.
All right. So let's start off as SmackDown. Or no, excuse me. Dynamite opens up with MJF in the parking lot of in like a neighborhood, like they're at a building that looks like it's just in like the suburbs,
right?
And they're like in the back, like you're behind like a regular building. This is not, bro. They have not shot their segments well lately, bro. You need to find a decent electrical wires in the background. The walls were.
What?
Can you hear me, guys?
You were breaking up before.
You're back.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah,
when it does break up, on my screen it says your connection is unstable.
Yeah, and we were having pretty good luck with Zoom too.
Yeah. Then underneath it said that we believe you're mentally unstable. Nothing.
It's weird. Go ahead.
You're weird. Yeah.
So I have this Grok answer.
Yeah.
I don't. It says based on the data up to early March.
Can you hear me?
Here's Grok's assessment of the top 5 TV ratings draws for AEW. Number 1, Jon Moxley. Reasoning. As the AEW World Champion, Moxley's a central figure. The January 15th Dynamite episode where he defended the title against Hobbs drew 679,000 viewers.
All of that I'm not interested in.
Okay. You just want the list.
Right.
Okay. 2, Kenny Omega. 3, Mercedes Moné. 4, Hangman Adam Page. And 5 is Tony Storm, per Grok's analysis.
Yeah, I think Grok's wrong.
I just did what Disco said. Now I'm trying the deep search on Grok. This is pretty amazing. I'm watching it work. After the deep dive, the deep search from Grok here, it says the top 5 AEW draws. There's only a couple of differences, but this is from their deep dive. Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, Christian Cage, Swerve Strickland, and Tony Storm. I think that's a little bit more. Because the other one had Mercedes on there, and I'm like, well, when is Mercedes really, what has she really drawn since?
All right. Okay, so let's go. So, did you guys watch Dynamite? I'm back here. I moved to a different room in the house. I'm having internet issues in my house.
No, we were talking about MJF in the street.
Okay, so MJF.
I think what MJF was trying to do, Disco, and that's why I was shot there, is like, because he says, I'm in the streets of Sacramento. And, everybody popped. And, so he's trying to show, hey, I'm in the streets right now.
Yeah.
Disco, I used that deep search for the AEW top 5, and it's pretty amazing even just watching Grok work. It shows you where, now we're looking here because this has this. That's behind a paywall. Now I'm going to go, like, it's pretty, it tells you what it's doing the whole time.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so they did the contract signing for Swerve and Ricochet. And so Nana, once Ricochet sat down, Shivani asked where the embassy robe was that he stole. Ricochet says the robe belongs to him and it was getting some modification, but he'd bring it to Revolution. Ricochet took a jab at Swerve by saying at least his house can't be burnt down again, and Swerve told Ricochet to sign the contract. Ricochet said Swerve was lucky he's giving him a rematch. Ricochet said Swerve mocked and bullied him, and Ricochet said in the face of that he still beat Swerve. So Swerve told Ricochet to sign the contract. Ricochet said he would and spoke about how he's one step away from becoming the AEW champion. Swerve told Ricochet to shut up, spoke about how he's annoying and tired little. Swerve said he'll expose Ricochet as the coward that he is. Swerve recalled Ricochet used a pair of scissors and leaving him bleeding. He said the biggest mistake Ricochet made was leaving him breathing. Swerve told Ricochet, said he won't just run through Ricochet, he's going to put him in the ground en route to get the AEW World Championship back. Swerve signed the contract, and Swerve stood up and looked at the crowd, and Ricochet stood up and pulled scissors out, went to stab Swerve. Swerve blocked his arm, and even though he had his arm like this, Ricochet couldn't pull his arm away from him, and then Swerve pulled out scissors and stabbed Ricochet in the head with scissors, and Ricochet got color to open the show. And sold in a very comical way. Bro, play Russo's take on this. This is actually funny because I was thinking the same thing. And then we'll have then Konnan will comment on everything he's heard.
Intent there. Tell me what the intent there. Ricochet pulls out a scissor and what? He's gonna Swerve Strickland? Is that what he's gonna do, bro? He's gonna Swerve Strickland with a scissor. That's what you want me to believe. This is the AEW that MJF says I need to watch. Then Swerve Strickland just so happens to have his own scissor. So now, bro, I'm asking myself this question. Is every wrestler on the AEW roster walking around with a scissor in their pocket? I mean, I got to ask the question, man. Ricochet's got a scissor because Ricochet, he's got a plan that I'm going to stab Swerve Strickland with a scissor, and I'm going to... But then Swerve Strickland's got his own scissor. So now did Swerve Strickland anticipate Ricochet's going to try to you with a scissor, so I better bring a scissor. And now, if Ricochet is people with scissors, is everybody in the back? Does Mariah May have a scissor? That's what I want to know, bro. Does Paige have a scissor? Does Cope have a scissor? Bro, do you know how ridiculous this is? MJF, this is why they're not watching AEW, bro. Nobody's going to learn anything from Ricochet stabbing people with scissors. Whoa.
What did you think of that take, and what did you think of the segment, Konnan?
Yeah, it sounds entertaining, but he's absolutely wrong because what's this guy's name? Ricochet. He wasn't trying to. He was trying to stab him in the head, and he did stab him in the head. And then the other guy stabbed him in the head.
Did you just hear what you just said?
No, I don't listen to what I say, Disco. Why don't
He
you tell
wasn't
me?
trying to. He was
Right.
trying to stab him in the head with scissors.
He just wanted
Right.
to wound him.
Right. Yeah. Okay. What do you find funny or hard to believe?
I mean, like, you go stab a guy in the head, you hit his vein, he bleeds out all over the place. It's like if you're stabbing somebody in the head, okay,
When it's
that's
in
like
the
you're trying
forehead, yeah.
Yeah, it's safe.
well, you're trying to kill somebody. So that's what bro,
Nah,
you can't be
You want
stabbed.
to draw blood. You want to send a message.
Right.
Okay, let me say something.
And then the other thing is, no, everybody's
you
not.
can't.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
can't walk, bro. And this is why this show is. People look at this, and if you're a viewer that's turning it on, you're just looking at how absurd and ridiculous this stuff is.
Okay,
It's not like the Iron.
Let me just say
First of all, the Sheik and Abdul the Butcher haven't been a thing in how long has it been? 25 years
40?
to 30 years?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been forever. Okay, if you got like a foreign object, it's like, okay, you got like something on your fist, that's the thing, bro. Nobody is using sharp objects that are like a knife in professional wrestling.
New Jack.
It's ridiculous. The New Jack. What happened when New Jack had the thing?
He got arrested for assault.
Got arrested for assault, but almost bled out. He like
stabbed him.
Bro, this is too absurd to take seriously. They're trying to make the thing look serious, but it's so absurd. You're laughing at it. Like the whole thing is not a hate. I'm laughing at how absurd somebody thought this was a good idea.
I'm not
stabbing guys with scissors.
I'm not saying that, bro. I thought the screwdriver was JoJo, and I think the scissors JoJo. But to say that he was trying to give me a break, if he would have been in his heart or something, I would have said okay. But he just stabbed him in the head, and then he stabbed him back in the head. But bro, it's very absurd. It looks, you know.
Well, that's my point. It's ridiculous. It's like this is why like I'm just saying this.
Yeah, but no way have I ever gotten the come to the conclusion, oh, he was trying to kill him. No, he's just trying to maim him. He's trying to send a message. He's trying to hurt him. Just like when he hit him in the head and he just bled. It's just nobody's trying to kill anybody. Now, if you took a gun out, that might be different.
I look at it completely different. We'll agree to disagree on this. Right.
I see what you're both saying. I would say to Disco, they want to have an opening segment where these guys draw blood and draw attention to the feud because they're so heated. All right, so they don't use scissors. So what would you have them use? A chair again? Bro,
like, why do they have to use anything?
That I'm saying in the context of
because, bro, they're hot-shotting everything to keep your attention. Something's got to work. Maybe if they, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
By the way, is the number out on this yet, Joe? They've been doing it later.
680.
And why would you? And I don't understand something about you, Disco, because you're usually respectful. Why would you be questioning the 4-time Booker of the Year?
Yeah.
No, that was
well. So the next two segments.
My mistake, Disco. It was 600, not 680. 600.
600. Yeah, they're getting low. They're like, if at this rate, they're like 3 to 4 months away from being under 500.
600 for what?
600,000 was the number.
Really?
Yeah.
And
it says.
What do you think of me? There were 598 last week. It's the same people. And this is the go-home show for the pay-per-view that did not feel like a go-home show for a pay-per-view by any stretch of imagination.
The average here for the past 4 weeks is 586, so this is exactly right in the wheelhouse that they've been drawing.
Wow.
Okay, so then I guess these
6 months they might be at 500.
So it's kind of.
And if you look just real quick, Di, so March 2025, they were averaging 781, so they're down 23%.
Yeah.
From last year.
Yeah, they've lost like around 200,000 viewers from the previous year. So since they signed Okada, Monet, and Ospreay, they're down. They've lost 25% of their audience. How great is that? How could you screw that? All right. So next is so at the pay-per-view, Will Ospreay is wrestling. What's his name in a cage match? The Kyle Fletcher. For some reason, for the go home for this is Will Ospreay's in this 8-man tag with Powerhouse Hobbs, Mark Briscoe, and Powerhouse Hobbs, Mark Briscoe, and who else did we have in here?
There's Brian Cage, Lance.
No, it's the heels. Okay. Oh, Cassidy, Orange Cassidy. Okay, yeah. I guess Brian Keith, Mark Davis, Lance Archer, and Brian Cage. All right. There were so many. The only entertaining thing I saw in this was when Callis got up and put the boots of Cassidy at ringside. That was very entertaining. He's still a good heel and knows how to get heat.
Yeah, and he was good on commentary.
However, okay, all right, psychology-wise, nobody helped us. Nobody helped anybody here. Okay, Archer and Cage are getting ready. They're supposed to be getting ready for the Hurt Business, correct?
Right.
Bro, they wrestled in this match. No lie. Tell me if this is a thing. Bro, they wrestled like the Midnight Express. They were like comedic heels, doing comedy spots, bumping all over the place. Like the match started off with all of the baby faces getting over on Brian Cage, like in the corner. Like, I'm like, dude, this match should have been laid out where Archer and Cage are dominating when they're in the ring and double teaming guys. Okay, they need to look imposing to and bro, they did nothing like that in this match. They were this was like 75% of the offense went to the baby faces in this match. Okay, the baby faces ended up going over. All right. After the match, Cage and Archer teamed up to slam Hobbs. So they got heat on them after the match, even though they got nothing in the match. Okay. Davis put Ospreay down. Bro, Davis had a sleeper on him for so long that if this was the UFC, they would have the guy would have died. All right. How long did he have the sleeper on Will Ospreay for?
He had the sleeper on so long I almost went to sleep. Nothing.
Boring.
Okay. Bro, we talk about the structuring, like post-match and everything. This was colossal epic fail. This went on way too long. Fletcher comes out. He takes off his shirt. They're getting, not decent. The heat's all right, but it's not that ominous, right? Fletcher makes Davis pick up a chair and told him to hit Ospreay. Davis is like not wanting to do it. Fletcher now is like high facing Davis because Davis, for some reason, doesn't want to get heat on Ospreay now. In other words, and like this made no sense whatsoever.
Right. And here's a great thing: Callis was there on commentary, and they could have asked him, "Hey, why is he refusing?" And Callis should have said, "Well, I'm going to have to talk to him," but they didn't even explain
because they don't have production meetings. The announcers did not know how to narrate this part of the storyline because we're going, why is?
Well, I think they've been in the business long enough to at least occur to them, hey, we got Callis here, let's ask him what's going on.
So finally,
Callis would have made up a good reason.
So finally, Davis did hit with the chair eventually. He left the ring and was like, walked up the aisle and was like looking back at what was going on in the ring. And while they all stood over, so then Fletcher gave Ospreay a brainbuster on top of the chair. And then Fletcher stood over Ospreay and posed with Cage, Archer, and Callis. Okay?
Bro,
let me give you Powell's PLB first and then you go ahead. The match was well worked and the crowd was invested. I'm typically not a fan of 8-man tag matches being used as television main events because they typically feel meaningless. This wasn't the main event. I tend to enjoy them more when they were slotted earlier in the show as this one was. Okay, so that makes sense. The Davis storyline is inconsistent and isn't very compelling. Seems like he wrestles like nothing is out of the ordinary and then suddenly acts conflicted when it's time for an angle. Like they didn't do any of the storytelling during the match and out of nowhere they did this at the end. And I thought, I don't know. What'd you think of this?
Bro, this is the reason why it's hard to talk good about AEW, right? The first segment was whack to the point it was almost comical, all right? Oh, and there was actually, why are they making such a big fucking deal out of this guy's robe? And Ricochet goes, oh, I made some upgrades. I'm sure we're going to see it in the next show with something ridiculous on it. And Nana tried to go at him and Swerve had to hold him back. I go, what, is he a tough guy now? But anyways, so you start off with the scissor in the first segment, which was brutal. Then you come out here and, of course, Brian Cage and Lance Archer, they almost feel like small guys in a big guy's body. They're just bumping for everybody. Mark Davis he's definitely, and I've never even met him. You talk about, Joe Biden charisma. He's got that and then some, and he's out of shape. And then Brian Keith, it's almost like the Jimmy Uta deal. We were saying 4 years ago, why are they pushing this guy so much? They're still pushing him 4 years later, and he still really isn't over. But why is Brian Keith even with them?
So he could he'd take the fall.
Well, that's the reason, right? But, bro, when your family consists of Mark Davis and Brian Keith, that's pretty weak.
Yeah, and Fletcher
and when Archer, did he join them anyways? The family
and Archer and Cage don't need to be submitting to these Orange Cassidy comedy spots. Like they're doing the comedy spots that the big guys are letting them do. I'm like, dude, come on! Like you got to protect your character. Like I guarantee you that MVP, Lashley, and the other kid, and who's the third guy? Sheldon Benjamin. They're watching this, going like, we're not going to make any money with these guys.
Not
you know
just
what I'm saying? Like,
not
like
just that.
If you were MVP and you were watching that match, what would you be saying to Archer and Cage after the match?
Well, not just that. Why couldn't they have been at the show and said, so you lost against these guys and you want to face us?
Right.
Do, impress us.
Right.
Impress us, because that was not impressive. But why isn't the Hurt Syndicate there?
I don't know. So this is hysterical. Okay, and it's funny too because this is a week after people were mentioning that AEW does not have production meetings. All right. So Copeland versus Wheeler Utah, and Wheeler Utah did the walk in from like he's like Clint Eastwood
from outside,
from outside, walking into the arena like he's Clint Eastwood in the one of these westerns. Like they tried to make him like look like this is like wow, what a great edge for Wheeler Utah. He goes out there against Cope. The match went way too long. If you're trying to build Cope if you're going for the title, you should have annihilated this kid.
They don't have short matches there.
So then he beat him. And then after the match, she shakes his hand, says that's what respect feels. That's what respect feels like, right? And Cope leaves. So Yuta's in the ring selling. So then Moxley comes down and comes in the ring, and he's like having a stick attack, like he's now because Yuta shook the guy's hand. They literally do the exact same angle that they just did the previous segment, where he's pie facing so like the heels now were having issues with each other. He's pie facing him like Fletcher was doing with the Mark Davis guy. So like literally in back-to-back segments, they're doing the same issue that the heels are having with each other. And then like Moxley goes and Yuta takes his hand and now pie faces Moxley, leaves the ring, walks to the back. Moxley spins out again, goes through the back, and watches Yuta walk out of the building, and then Moxley cuts like this long nonsensical promo that he's been saying, like it's just like whatever gibberish he's been speaking, and cuts a promo, and I'm like, this was what did you think about that? That they did the pie face thing like two segments of back.
Yeah, I really didn't notice that, but I just thought that it was weird that Copeland showed so much respect to Wheeler before and after the match. I was like, what's going on here? Right. But I think that, and the crowd actually started to chant Yuta, so right. I don't know if that's how much heat Moxley has or that they like Yuta, but either way, I thought the promo wasn't bad. It was passionate, it was good, and it was different,
Was it different? It's the same thing as been saying.
No. Let me say it. Okay. It was different than everybody else on the show except MJF's.
All right.
As far as intensity.
All right. So then they did actually the Outrunners video package was actually pretty entertaining because they shoot it like it's
1980s, yeah.
1970s.
70s, yeah.
Right, yeah. So that was actually entertaining. But for some reason, they're the ones that are wrestling for the belts at the pay-per-view. So, but that was the only thing they did. So this is hysterical. So Paquette is outside with Hangman Page again. In the background, you see Hangman driving up in the truck, and like it looked like he tried to run over Paquette and MJF. it's like Paquette had to run out of the they ran like she had to run out of the way too.
Right.
Like he was like
that was funny.
I would have shot that differently than like make Page look like he's trying to run over Renee Paquette. Yeah. So he chases him in the ring. So they chase him into the building. MJF runs away. So then Page catches up with the guy that looks like MJF, and so runs him in the barricade. But it's just a guy that's dressed up like MJF because MJF comes and clocks him from behind. This was the only good angle on the show. That very clever way that MJF got it Page here. All right. Did you like that when they did?
Yes, and not only is it only was the best angle, it's the hottest angle they have.
Right. The hottest angle they had. So then he sets him up for buckshot lariat, but when he does it, when he's coming to give him the clothesline part of the movie, he kicked him right in the that was a good spot. And he gave him the heat seeker pile driver. He had a shirt on that said MJF did nothing wrong. The security guards come in and they got kicked. I'll say this. Most of the brawls in the show are terrible, but MJF and Page, they do theirs well. All right. Yeah. So they stick out like a sore thumb because they they bring good intensity, and they fight like that. They're intense, you know.
And they have
facials.
good promos and
they get good facials too. So this is the only interesting thing they got going on. Basically, he pulled out but then it got ridiculous. Okay,
right.
I don't know why they thought this. You know, bro, all you had to do was just beat the guy and leave him.
Right.
Leave him laying.
And nobody thought you were going to burn him.
Right,
And here's the thing.
Gasoline, pours gas on him, and picks a lighter out. But the worst thing about it is because nobody knew he's actually going to set him on fire. Bro, the announcers never even turned up the volume in their commentary at all during this.
Oh my
Michael, what has he got? There was no urgency. They're just talking to each other.
Right.
You know. Right.
Right. So, that's a big problem there. And so he didn't need to do that fire spot. It was unnecessary. Nobody thought he was going to light him up because nobody's ever been lit up, and nobody probably ever will be lit up. So that it was hard to suspend disbelief, but everything else was very well done.
And let me tell you the point. Everything was very well done, but listen to Pal's POV, because this was actually a good segment until that. Okay, because Pal's POV, this is literally where he says, "Meh." Listening to the live crowd, there seemed to be a disconnect when MJF doused Page with the lighter fluid, presumably because the fans didn't actually think Page would set him on fire. Yes, I know Jack Perry had his pen set on fire by Darby Allin once before, but this was still pretty weak. Bro, that's your reaction from that segment because it ended so bad.
Right.
The rest of it was very good. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's
and it's always the analogy that I make in wrestling with movies. Yeah. If the movie's good but the finish is bad, same thing with wrestling, then 100%. The movie and the match is bad.
Yeah. So does it got this Queen of the Ring movie coming out about the girl? What's her name? Mildred Burke.
Yeah.
So they interviewed the director, and then he introduced Toni Storm as one of the stars, and she said her only regret is that her gratuitous nude scene was cut from the film.
That was funny.
And Nair mentioned that Storm would have a sit-down interview with Mariah May. She said it could get ugly, and then told viewers to check out the movie on Friday. So now we do Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa against Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Now there was a lot of good backstory that they could have addressed and told a good story here from the week before when the Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford made Thunder Rosa look terrible. Thunder Rosa should have come in there right off the bat and glommed one of these girls and got it had it be pulled apart make it like last week was a shoot and they made her look bad, right?
Right.
But they did a very weird spot here. Okay, Thunder Rosa went to shoot Penelope Ford in. See if you remember the spot. Penelope Ford reversed it. Okay, and instead of going into the ropes, Thunder Rosa went down on her knees and leaned against the ropes like she was setting up for the 619. Did you see that spot? Joe, try and find that spot in this match. This is at the beginning of the opening exchange with Penelope Ford and Thunder Rosa. And then she drop kicked her in the back. I've never seen a girl do that before. And I don't know if she was supposed to trip Thunder Rosa, but she just did the reversal. Thunder Rosa went towards the ropes and just went down and fell against the second rope.
I don't remember that.
I do. That's the thing.
And I saw the whole match.
Joe, try and find it. It's a very bizarre spot. So Megan Rain and Penelope. So Megan Rain was getting over pretty good because she's strong. So she did a spot where she threw, what do you call it? She threw Thunder Rosa onto Statlander outside the ring. Okay,
and then threw Penelope on them too.
Yeah, she was doing baby face spots to the baby faces. The baby faces were selling like heels. So she did the same spot to her own partner, and they go over in 9 minutes and 50 seconds. But there was a couple spots here where Rosa got fired up and looked like she was hot, and looked like she was maybe a half shoot going on in there, which she was striking it. But whatever. What did you think of this? Joe, you trying to find that spot?
Obviously, they were trying to feature Megan, which they did because she just looked, very powerful here. And I don't think she's lost yet. But, bro, this is how they should have booked Camille. But no, like everything else they touched, they ruined. Bro, they got to her too soon. I mean, she was supposed to be this badass, and she looks like a badass and a bodyguard. Next thing you know, Britt was touching her, and then somebody else was touching her, and then they got rid of her totally. I thought Thunder was more over than Statlander, who has gained some weight. Okay,
Right.
I would like to see Statlander versus Bane. I did not like what Thunder Rosa was wearing because she usually wears
Me neither.
Katrina Day of the Dead. Here, bro, she's dressed like she's gonna milk a cow or pitch some hay.
It's like in a farm. Like they look like they're
right.
the Dixie.
I'm like,
like
what
the
are you
Dixie
wearing?
chicks, or like the Dixie chicks.
Right.
Play the spot, Joe.
Light and Bane's the dog.
It's like 15 seconds out, I think.
Dark, short black jacket. Thanks for carrying me. I appreciate that, Scott. I'm new at this.
Taz, you're a mathematician. I'm fancy myself as a fan of E.E. Cummings myself.
Yeah, I worked with him in sprinting.
Maybe not. Sorry, I saw her on the ropes, and I thought that was.
No. Just go. He said right. So just try to go find it again.
Yep.
So and let me just say another thing, bro. She Gunther styled chopped out of what's up the white Penelope.
Right.
Thunder just chopped.
Right. She that's what I said. There was a spot in there where she was lighting her up, you know.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this Megan Rain girl. She's big and strong and green because her
Megan
facials,
Rain or Megan Bane.
Megan Bane. Because she doesn't really have any like ominous facial expressions or anything.
No.
She just does like this. She puts her hands out with like, you know, like, yeah, like look at me, you know. So I don't know. This should be earlier in the match, Joe. Like near the beginning, like when the opening exchanges. You're way too big. This is near the end. Yeah.
Go ahead, I'll find it.
All right, fine. Okay, so it might be like coming up after this.
Maybe the person on the outside that caused that. That's the situation we're in right now.
Good question. I want to get the person that beat me. That's what
no. It's supposed to be Thunder and Penelope. Okay, here it comes. Okay, yeah, play it.
I'd want to get the one that beat me. Who's ready?
Tag made. Now, Thunder Rosa seeing her first action of this match. Speaking of hammer.
Oh no, she does it. She does one move and tags back in. Then the announcers go, "Oh, I like to see the quick tags."
Oh yeah.
Okay, here she comes. Now here she comes back. They're doing quick tags, but they're not doing any double team moves. They're just doing quick tags. Okay, here it is.
Into that point, Statlander on the verge of joining the 100-win club here in AEW, which only Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose both former.
What on earth was that? Did you see that?
Yeah, not just back kicks to the back.
No, but watch this. Watch Thunder Rosa here.
She just stumbles.
Okay.
Like what?
Yeah.
It's like I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm.
Right. Yeah. She didn't get tripped into the ropes or anything.
Right.
She
And I
just
think
stumbled
she was supposed to get tripped, and the girl forgot to trip her. Or
Maybe.
something, because that looked terrible. That looked.
Maybe that's
like,
why she was chopped.
Thunder Rosa's not green, right?
No. Of course not.
So that was like, because I was watching, I go, well, why does Thunder Rosa look green? I go, because she's probably in there with two green girls and they're making her look green, you know? So, all right. So then Mercedes Moné's backstage and she's talking about Momo Watanabe.
Oh, by the way, I didn't talk to Thunder Rosa about this, but I did talk to somebody that happened to be there.
Right.
And they were telling me that when when Thunder came into the ring with the chair, right, she was afraid to hit him. And they were like, well, you should have hit her in the back or jabbed her in the stomach. We should have done something. And that's one thing. And the other thing that I was being told is that they never got in, I guess they never got in a room together, all three of them, like they were sending messages.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's
there
what
was
it
no
looked like.
communication.
Well,
that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Looks like they didn't communicate or maybe
right. You
they
did
talked
say
to
that.
one person. Yeah. So I was like, interesting. So Mercedes Moné cut a promo Momo Watanabe, and then she also has to wrestle Serena Deeb this Saturday. So this was uneventful. Max Caster, this was actually funny. He said he showed off his framed paperwork. He's most talked about wrestler in AEW. He said the Maximaniacs are always talking, and he did this is actually pretty funny. He started leading the crowd to chants, "Let's go, Max! You're the best wrestler alive." Let's go, like a little weird chant. I guarantee the fans are going to start chanting that in like a week or two.
Probably.
Okay. Like that goofy chant that he was doing. So then he called up for his next opponent. Jay White comes out and beat him in 12 seconds. So then White took the mic after the match and said he would beat AEW Revolution to see in the new AEW World Champion, Cope. And everybody in the mother says that looks like he's going to turn on him, excuse me. So Mariah May and what's her name did a sit down last week, and they shot this with like 3 cameras and they kept doing quick editing. Like, this is weird. But they just basically, May called herself Storm's greatest co-star. This is what Storm always wanted. May said they first shared the Ring of Revolution. They can have their Hollywood ending, but the one they always dreamed of. Storm said May doesn't deserve the dignity of death. She said May's career will continue to be good but never great. She said her career will dwindle. And someday people will ask her whatever happened to it. Storm said that's what happens when you try to. Both women stood up. McKay said she prays that neither one of them gets hurt. Pray for her, Storm and May said simultaneously. Yeah, Storm is good. So then Mariah May's pretty good too on the mic. This was actually pretty entertaining. What'd you think of this?
I thought this was excellent. This was a very well done sit down. Renee's reactions were great. The things she was saying was logical. I like when Mariah spit in her face. And I also like when Renee goes something like, I pray you guys don't get hurt. And at the same time, they go, pray for her. This was very well done. I liked it a lot. And as a matter of fact, my top 3 favorite acts right now in, what do you call this? In Dynamite, AEW, whatever, is in no particular order, Max Caster, Tony and Mariah, and finally, after over a year of doing lame, MJF and the Cowboy.
Right. So they go to the main event
and fourth Hurt Syndicate.
So this is kind of weird.
And Mark Davis, nothing.
They did the contract signing earlier in the show, but Swerve and Ricochet are facing each other at the end of the show here in a tag match with Brody King and Okada. So I don't know. And Ricochet beat Swerve in this match, but I don't understand what the purpose of this match was. I mean, you should have left
Neither do I.
Right, you should have just left it the contract signing where he stabbed him in the head.
Bro, and let me just say it.
So Ricochet came with a bandage on his head.
Yeah, and let me just say another.
Yeah, go ahead.
The match had no real reason why is Okada in there, because Okada's gonna fight Brody King, I believe, right?
Right.
And then Strickland's gonna fight Ricochet. That's the reason. But here's a problem. Even though I can understand the logic behind this, I've always said that the main event is star power, right? Brody King's not a star. Okada's not a star. Swerve is really not a star outside of AEW. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ricochet was, at least he had that WWE run where he was a mid-carder. But I just think the main event should always have either Edge, Christian, Jericho, some combination of those guys. You know what I'm saying? MJF. See what I'm saying or no? Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very compelling card to me, to be honest with you.
What did you think of the show overall?
I mean, like I said, it was busy with a bunch of stuff that just was. Like I said, it's not. It's the show comes off as more as a parody of a wrestling show, as opposed to like a wrestling show that's premised on suspending disbelief and think it's real. Because they're too over the top with some of the ridiculous things they do, But some of the stuff was good. Like I said, I remember Tony Storm is always good every week. Ryan May's good every week. MJF and Hangman are finally the type of feud that MJF needs to be in, where it's kind of serious, But the rest of the stuff is just,
No,
like,
the only thing that interests me was what you just mentioned, okay, and the fact that they're actually doing something with a female not named Monet with Megan Bain. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see they're behind her. Right. But like I said before, they could have done this and they should have done this with Camille.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.